Hello and welcome to my garden and the dinosaurs who live there. I'm really happy to be taking part this year in the Small Space Gardening collaboration, and it's a collaboration of YouTube content creators around the world focused on gardening, and in particular looking at how you can garden and what you can grow in smaller spaces. So it might be window boxes, a courtyard, pots, a small garden, a small area of a garden or allotment, because we all have different sizes of garden or growing areas to work with, and we thought it would be interesting to pull together a number of collaborators so that you can see what each of us do. So the idea is that we each put out one video each month at the end of the month, and there'll be a theme to each of these videos. And February video, this one, the theme is planning. So for my video, I'm going to show you the growing area that I'm going to be focusing on and talk to you about my plans to get it from where it is now which is a bit of a mess, to make it into a productive growing area. So come on, let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so here we are looking at the area that I am going to be focusing on for this set of collaboration videos. And you can see it looks rather unkempt. Yes, definitely. And it's an area 15 feet by 15 feet. And when we first moved to the house last year, it was even more overgrown than this. Tons and tons of crocosmia, loads and loads of ivy, and a variety of other things that I don't even know what they are. And I think there's some brambles in there as well. So we've been chipping away and chipping away. Obviously there's quite a lot to do in the garden as a whole and in the house, since there's renovations needed, so I've not been able to focus wholeheartedly on doing things that I want to in the garden, but I will need to do that now because we are, well, in winter, but obviously coming kicking and screaming towards spring. So yeah, this is my area, 15 feet by 15 feet. You can see that there's still lots of things that need cleared. And so the plan is to clear this as much as I can do. And I'm going to put in raised no-dig beds. Now, I have started that actually over here. This piece of wood was actually a scaffolding plank that a tradesman left in the garden when he was doing some work. So I was more than happy to make use of that. It was 9 feet long, so I cut it into 6 feet and a 3 feet length, and then I've just slotted it in just against this wall here. That is the chicken run, the end of the chicken run. So I've put some weed suppressant fabric down there just now until I'm ready to actually get that filled up and planted up. So that's one bed. And I'm just walking through this area now, and just to give you an idea of the devastation that I'm going to have to cope with. This will be a nightmare to get out, I know. Yeah. Although nice and pretty, we've got some some snowdrops in there, and we've also got a nice rhubarb which definitely will be staying. So that will, I'll sort of protect that area from the chickens, because chickens will probably try and eat the rhubarb and it is poisonous to them. So I'll need to get a little fence structure up around the rhubarb. And then the rest, I'm just standing up on a little step that we have here. I'm not sure exactly the location of the beds, and I'm still trying to locate the wood that I'm going to use for the raised beds. I've been desperately trying to get some pallet collars, but there doesn't seem to be many to be had, if any. So yeah, I don't know the size. I think probably ideally I would like them to be 5 or 6 feet long by 3 or 4 feet wide. I'll just measure this out again before I get started on that. But the idea, I think, was I'd have 2 beds going that way, and then over here, if I just swing round, that's the bed I've already got in, and then maybe another 2 beds going that way, or maybe a long bed. I'm still thinking about it, to be honest. The main objective is to get as much growing space as I can do, but not to compromise on access. So I'm going to make sure that I have got paths running around here so that I can access the beds for easy planting and harvesting and so on. Now at the back here, you'll see there is a bed, but this is a bed that was here before I moved, and this is out with the 15 by 15 area I'm talking about. This is actually a border of it. So I'll have a path up here, and then the beds that I'm talking about to the right hand side there. I'll just show you it from a different angle. So there's the chicken run, and here's the area that I'm talking about. Now I'm really lucky in that the garden is south facing, so pretty much that is, well, south is just that way a little bit. So this area gets loads of sun. The sun comes over obviously from the east here over to the west, and so it's going to get sun most of the day. There is a tree there, so that in probably midday-ish will cast a shadow over the bed here, but it's probably not too bad a thing. It's going to get sun most of the rest of the time. So as for what I'm going to grow in here, I'll focus a little bit more on that in next month's video, but I want a combination of fruit and veg and flowers, so I'm going to pack it in here. Strawberries, I've got the rhubarb, and off the top of my head I'm thinking things like a turnip and beetroot and radish and I don't know, lots. As much as I can do anyway, but as I say, I'll focus on that a little bit later in another video. But yeah, so here's the area as it stands, and wish me luck trying to get all of this cleared. So we're a couple of weeks on from the original part of the video, and you should be able to see that I've made a bit of difference in this 15 by 15 foot area that I am going to be focusing on in this series of videos in the Small Space Gardening collaboration. It's been a bit of a slog. I've been using pickaxes and spades and shovels and forks and you name it to try and get this cleared, and that's the clump of crocosmia that I had to remove with a pickaxe, but it's looking so much better. It's pretty flat actually, and there's now plenty of space for me to start getting more beds in situ. But let's just have a look and see what else I've done. You'd seen originally this bed was partly made, and I've now got it filled, and I've got 2 varieties of strawberry in here, so hopefully get some nice strawberries this summer. And if I swing around here, I've got another bed, excuse my shadow, there we go. I've got another bed built. Again, it's against the wall, that forms one side of it, and I've used scaffolding planks or scaffolding boards, whatever they're called, and we've got another raised bed here, and it was built using a deep litter method, so cardboard on the ground that will eventually rot away, and then different layers of organic matter to grow into. I still need to top that up with either topsoil or soil and compost, just to bring the levels up a bit. And we need to paint these, because one of the considerations, I think, when you're setting up an area is to try and set it up so that you don't have to things don't rot unduly quickly. So I'm going to get these painted. If we have a look over here, the rhubarb's probably doing even better than when you saw it earlier on in the video. It's coming along nicely. And now what am I going to do with the rest of it? I'll just move back. So I had originally thought I was going to have 2 raised beds that way, but I decided to go with this format. And so I'm going to put another 6 foot by 3. I'm going to put another 6 foot by 3 raised bed here. Actually, I'll move the other way. Except the sun's in the way, so I can't do that. Yeah, so another one next to it, and then another one here. And in between, I'm going to put weed suppressant fabric down, and eventually I'll put wood chip on that. So during the planning stages, when you're preparing the area that you're going to be growing in, you might not be building it from scratch like I am. It might be you're pulling together different pots and containers, or reusing beds that are already there. But you've got to have a think about what you want to grow and the conditions that these plants require, whether it's full sun or partial shade or even shade. You've also got to have a think about the climate that you have, whether the country that you live in will have a bearing on that, but also there's a thing such as a microclimate, which is almost like a climate for that particular area in your garden, and things that affect the microclimate could be dips in the ground, foliage cover, walls, etc. They may hold in the heat, they may hold in frost and become a frost pocket. So these things have a think about, and it's great if you're able to see that area through the seasons to understand what the climate is going to be in that growing space. So I moved into this house in August last year, so we were still in summer, so I saw what the area is like in summer, and we've gone through autumn and winter, and we're just about to come into spring, so I've sort of got a good idea of what the area is getting with regard to sun and other types of weather and frost, etc. So all of that will have a bearing on what you can grow, and obviously the orientation of your garden has another bearing. So are you facing north, south, east or west? And that will determine how much sun your space gets, and therefore again the types of plants that you can grow. So I've been taking all of this into consideration. I'm very lucky, as I said earlier, we are pretty much south facing. Now I do have a chicken run sitting there, but it's transparent, it's got wire mesh on it and transparent tarpaulin, so that will continue to let the light through it even when the sun's directly behind it. I do have a tree, so that will, and it's an evergreen, it will block the sun for a period of time, maybe an hour or so during the day, but east there, west there, south there, and so the majority of the time the sun's going to come up and it's going to hit the growing area, lose a little bit of the sun, dappled shade I guess I'll get, and then more sun again. So I know the orientation of the plot, I know the amount of sun it's going to get, and so that's going to have a bearing on what I grow. And as I said earlier, I've not set in stone what I'm going to grow. I know a variety of fruit and veg that I do want to grow. I've already got strawberries in there, and we've got the rhubarb plant as well. I do want to get some flowers in there, and I'll try very much to go along the companion planting route, where I'll plant flowers that will that are best suited for growing alongside, or when you grow them alongside certain veg, they have a positive effect either on the nutrients in the soil or pest control or whatever, and there'll be more about that in future videos. So yeah, the bed I showed you, that has nothing in it at the moment. I've already put manure in there as well as compost in it, and I'll top that up, as I said, with topsoil and maybe a bit more compost. That, I think we're going to have some brassicas in, so probably broccoli and cauliflower will go in that bed. The middle bed, I am thinking that may well be chard and spinach and beetroot and turnip. And then the bed, the third bed, well, the fourth bed that I'll be building in there, that I'm going to put a frame, a sort of trellis affair on, and I think I'll grow peas up there, and then the other part of the bed I'll have some other things in. I'll need to have a think about what goes in there. And from a flower perspective, probably marigolds and nasturtiums are the things, maybe calendula are the things that I'll grow in there. I think I'm going to have an area next to the bed, the last bed that I build, maybe a square area that I can use, maybe have some pots there. Maybe I'm thinking maybe 4 pots, and in those pots I may well put carrots. So I am planning things. I'm not obsessively planning. There's things I want to grow, but it might change as I go along as things take shape. But I've got a fairly good idea of what I'm going to have in there, and the structure is unfolding as I put beds in and see what the ground's like as I've cleared it. So I think that's me for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you take the time to look at the other videos in this collaboration. And I'll be back again at the end of March with another video in the small space gardening collaboration. If you've enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't already subscribed, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel and click that bell so that you get notified anytime I post videos. And yeah, I think that's all for now, so I'll say bye bye for now.